Dozens of residents in downtown Minot find themselves living in alternate housing today after they had to leave their apartment. The city choosing to evacuate the Artspace Lofts yesterday afternoon after finding visible signs of damage on the walls and floors. Kiona Rivera has updates on this story.
Residents of the Artspace Lofts are currently in alternate housing following a discovery of cracks in the building Monday afternoon. The building behind me is currently empty and nearby streets are blocked off. The Minot Fire Department responded to a call of a fire alarm and visible structural damage. While there was no fire, investigators found visible cracks on the walls and on the floors of at least one unit. A spokesperson for the city of Minot says out of an abundance of caution, all residents were evacuated in about 2 hours. He says firefighters went door to door to help residents gather their belongings. And City Transit also assisted with transportation to an area hotel.
Our crews from stations 3 and 4 stayed at the apartment, helped assist anybody that needed assistance, whether carrying belongings, pets, whatever it might have been. They were there to help them in kind of a stressful situation.
Part of Main Street and Central Avenue along the complex remain closed to traffic and pedestrians. Artspace opened in Minot in 2013 and according to its website has 34 units in the complex. The city does not have a timeline to when residents can move back into their unit until the engineer does their assessment. At downtown Minot, I'm Kiona Rivera reporting for your news leader.
Now, we've also reached out to the property management company for comment and we'll update you as we learn more.